وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
Today's program is brought to you by Sling TV.
My favorite TV channel has been removed. I was ripped off.
Don't be fooled by unauthorized TV services. You could not only lose your favorite TV channels, but also lose your money. Keep your eyes out and avoid offers that just seem too good to be true. There are numerous companies and TV services that are selling a set-top box or providing a website who claims to have rights to distribute NBC, Al Jazeera, Art, and many other Arabic TV channels.
Then who is legally authorized to provide my favorite TV channels in the U.S.?
Dish Network and Sling International provide your favorite TV channels and programs. For more information, go to www.dishnetwork.com/Arabic or www.sling.com/Arabic and sign up today and watch your favorite TV programs and save money.
And good morning and welcome to the Arab Daily News radio show. I'm Ray Hanania, and this is live August 14th, 2015, 8:05 in the morning in Detroit and in Washington, D.C. We're broadcasting live on Radio Baladi on Layla Al-Husseini's U.S. Arab Radio Network. She's a radio mogul, that Layla. She's a mogul. I wonder what mogul means in Arabic. I hope it's not a bad word. I'm going to get yelled at. And like I said, we're live in Detroit on AM 690 and also in Washington, D.C. on 700 AM radio. You can always go to my website, thearabdailynews.com, to get the link. You can listen live, obviously, if you're not listening to us on radio. Yeah, I think you can even listen on your cell phone and stuff like that. Really cool. Technology is just too broad. There's no way you can't be listening if you really want to listen. We invite you to call us today to join the discussion, share your views. The number is 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. Call us and share your opinions. We would love to hear what you have to say. Make sure to check out the website, of course, thearabdailynews.com, and also my mainstream syndicated columns at now. I actually have two. The ArabDailyNews.com does 800,000 page views a month. It's amazing. And it just goes to show you, when we got a group of maybe about 20 writers in English. There is a market for American, Arab, and Middle East issues in English. 800,000 hits a month. It's phenomenal. But also I have two other websites, the IllinoisNewsNetwork.com, which focuses on mainstream columns and politics in Illinois. And then we just expanded it to NewsAmericaNetwork.com, which is covering the entire country. And that just launched last week. So, news, and as you know, my mantra, if you even remember anything about me, communications is the temple in America. If you're not involved in communications, if you don't understand communications, forget about it. You're not going to do anything in this world. In this country, it's all about not what you say, but how you say it. Of course, and I actually do pretty well. I make a lot of money. It's funny. I give a lot of consulting advice to mainstream Americans, politicians, governments, and businesses. They all hire me. I do. I make a fortune doing that. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm very successful. I was a journalist for 20 years. Now I do communications. I've been doing it for, over 25 years. Urban Strategies Group. That's where the website is, by the way, urbanstrategiesgroup.com. So I do the media for like 9-10 different government agencies in the Chicagoland area, in Detroit, and in Washington, D.C. I do a lot of work, and I'm good at it. The problem is that I can't get the Arabs to understand how important communications is to changing the way people see us. I don't know, there must be like a gene or something that's against communications. And Arabs, we love poetry, right? Because it's all about emotion. Poetry is like singing. Arabic is not a language, it's singing. It's emotion, and singing takes emotion. We love to yell. We love to scream. And you know what? The only time we do anything is when we're emotional about it. Nothing's happening today. Honestly, we will just disappear and do nothing. Someone blows up something in the Middle East I can tell you, 36 hours, we're going to be angry, upset, screaming, demanding that something be done, and we don't do anything about it. Come on, let's be honest. I know the Arabs, and the one thing about communications, one of the fundamental things, I have a new book out called Power PR, Ethnic Strategies, Communication Strategies for Ethnic American Communities. It's doing very well with every ethnic group except the Arabs. Everybody is buying it except the Arabs. And it's just, I don't get it, but I should get it. We grew up in countries in the Middle East that were run by dictators and tyrants and oppressors. And these Arab dictators beat us up so badly, we get so used to saying, hey, I'm not going to go to the public square and talk about politics. I'm going to go to the mosque or I'm going to go to the church. So that's why we have so much politics in our religion, because it was the only place where we could run from the people who oppressed us. And these people, of course, were put in place by the very places where we live today in the West. England, France, the United States. Who do you think put all these people in that are killing all of us in the Middle East? The people in the West who are trying to sell us democracy. Believe me when I tell you, nobody is selling freedom. What they're doing is selling anything that will profit, and freedom does not profit. And we're going to talk about that, a little segue here, profit. The prophet, Khalil Gibran. Yeah, 40 million books have been sold. Probably one of the biggest, it has to be one of the top, authors in this country. And I don't know, I don't think this country's done enough to recognize them. Want a postage stamp. Do they even have a postage stamp yet? I think they did one. I can't remember. I've given up on it. It was a campaign. And let me look it up here. Postage stamp. Gibran. I know we got a statue of him at the Arab Museum, which, by the way, is one of the most brilliant things that the Arab community has ever done, to put a museum together. Where is it? There's no stamp for Khalil Gibran. Where is it? They're supposed to put it out, right? Weren't they? We're starting a campaign. I don't know. That's the other thing. Poor communications in our community. You ever read our newspapers? I love them. They try very hard. The Arab News in Dearborn and Detroit, great newspaper. But it's like Dearborn and Detroit. And then you go to Chicago, and we have El Mustaqbal, the Future News. Great newspaper, too. But nobody networks, no journalism association. I don't want to get on that soapbox. Why do I do this every week? I make myself miserable talking about this. I could talk about American politics and all the successes, not as an Arab, as an American, and I'll be very happy. But we talk about the Middle East, and it's just very depressing, how little we're able to do in this country. And it all comes from the failure of, and it gets back to the initial topic, that we just don't know how to communicate. We just don't know how to get our message out. We don't know how to talk to Americans. Well, why don't we have a radio show in every state? I mean, what are we, poor? Honestly, are we like poverty-stricken, the Arab community in America. We don't have any money. We can't support radio shows in every city, in every major city. We don't have TV stations. And our newspapers, like I said, they try so hard. Salute to Osama Siblani, my friend out there in Detroit. Yeah, he's like Layla. The two of them are journalism phenoms because they've been so successful, each in their own way. Yet we don't work together. We don't get together. And the community sides, they don't want us to get anybody to get together. I think that we Arabs, we love controversy, don't we? We love to get angry. And if we're not angry about something, then what purpose do we have in life? I know, it's pretty depressing. 248-557-3300 is the number, 248-557-3300. We're going to take a call in 1 second here, but first I want to just point out that, Selma Hayek, half Mexican, half Lebanese actress, I'd say about over the last 10 years, she's really gotten involved in American Arab activism. And just this past week, she released a movie called The Prophet. Now, it's an animated feature about Khalil Gibran's book. She picked 8 chapters from the book. And I read it in The Prophet a long time ago. It was a great book. I mean, I liked it. Kind of mushy stuff that women like, I think, poetry. I'm not big on poetry. I don't like it. But now she says, and I'll tell you, the movie is not doing very well. And in fact, when it was released, it didn't even get much publicity. And there you go. You don't have publicity, nobody's going to see the movie. I love Selma Hayek, but she did a terrible job. They put a lot of money into making the movie, but no money into publicizing it. Now, obviously, she's doing it the way that movies come out. Normally in Hollywood, they got to do it through the, Hollywood system, and the movie companies are just not picking it up. I mean, I have the list. If you go to the ArabDailyNews.com, you'll see where it's, premiering. It only premiered in Chicago just today. It opens at the Landmark Theater, and there's no Michigan movie showing of the film until Grand Rapids, Michigan at Celebration Cinemas in Woodland. That's the next one, August 28th. That's in 2 weeks. You can't show a movie, if you don't have the network support. Let's take a real quick call, and then we're going to take a break because we're almost at the quarter hour. So let's say hi to Jerry, who called in. Jerry, you were Mr. Reliable in listening to this show, and I always appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, Ray. This is the loyalty, Ray.
Well, you're a good guy. I wish there were a million Jerrys, because then we would have power in this country.
Ray,
we would have power instead of sitting
Ray,
at home doing nothing.
All we need in this country, I won't say too many, 10, 20 people like Layla al-Husseini, like Ray Hanania, like Khalil Hashim, like Jumana Kairouz. The people, Busaina Taha, and we need some people who they could give communication.
Yes.
And I respect you when you start your show, Ray, with communication. Lack of communication between our community here, this is our problem.
Yeah.
Ray,
but it's not exciting.
Ray, my friend in the East doesn't know what's going on with his cousin in the West.
You're right.
The guy in Dearborn doesn't know what's going on in Dearborn Heights.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so sad, Ray. Ray, yesterday, Layla al-Husseini, well, I respect her a lot. She had a beautiful show yesterday, and she put the song, Hala Ta'bani Ya Layla. And I believe Mr. Adam, the great producer, he put that song. And I give a comment about the song. I say, Layla الحالة تعباني في سوريا, حالة تعباني في لبنان, في العراق, في الأمة, the whole nation. Yes, and why? And why? Why? Don't blame it on somebody else. Let's blame it on us, only us. Ray, there was a very famous singer, God bless his soul, his name Aziz Ali in Iraq in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. And even they accuse him because he was very national. They say he belongs to the Masonic, whatever they call it. That guy, he used to write his own songs and all about society and what we live in. He said the problem is not someone else outside the border. The problem, us. We created from no education, no knowledge. يعني خليل الجهل والأمية. Khalil, this is the problem that we are facing. And even I described to Layla, I say, Layla, when you have a low land and there's a water standing on that land, that water after a while will be no good. And the mosquitoes and the other creature, they'll have a good soil to come in to that filthy water.
That's like
this
our
is what's happening, right?
Like a pool of water with doing nothing.
Exactly.
It is. It's very depressing, Jerry.
Right? It's so
and,
sad.
We try. That's why I admire, a lot of our leaders, we don't always get along together, which is our fault. We should.
Right,
I admire you have two of the most
Why I blame the American or the British?
No, you're
or
right.
The French.
I blame us. It's our
Thank
fault.
you. Right?
Yeah, I do. And then they yell at me. Honestly, people get mad at me. They say, why do you criticize the Arabs? I said, do you know, Jerry, the first solution to overcoming a problem is to acknowledge that you have the problem. You cannot overcome a problem if you refuse to acknowledge it. And Arabs, you know us, right? We will never acknowledge that we have a problem. We do not like to acknowledge failure. If we have a disabled kid, let's be honest, and not just Muslim, Christian and Muslim, if you got a disabled kid who is mentally disabled or whatever, when the family comes to visit, what do they do with the kid? 90% of the families put the kid down in the basement. They're ashamed.
What a sad.
That's the truth. The Ramallah people, I visit them all the time. And the people from Batunia in Palestine, my friends from Lebanon, if there is a disabled child, it's like we're ashamed of failure and we view that as failure and mistakes. And we don't want to acknowledge it. We get mad at the people who do it. Jerry, I got to let you go. I hate to do that because...
Right. Thank you so much for taking my call, and God bless you and bless your show, and God bless our countries and our beautiful country, the United States of America.
You're welcome, Jerry. I appreciate it.
God
This is
bless
Radio
you.
Baladi. I'm Ray Hanania, the Arab Daily News radio show here on AM 690. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk some more and take your phone calls at 248-557-3300 right here in Detroit and Washington, D.C. I'm Ray Hanania. I'll be right back right after these messages.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Najee Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Najee Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Najee Abood, 734-744-9796.
Jumana K-Ruse. You've seen her images on giant billboards across the metro. Jumana K-Ruse. You've seen her images on buses across the city. Now get to know Jumana K-Ruse.
Most people who sit in my office across from my desk are hurting on so many levels. One thing people do not know about medical malpractice is that the statute of limitation, meaning the time that you have to bring suit against a doctor, a hospital, is 2 years. In medical malpractice, that's a very, very short period of time. Not every lawyer is an advocate, but every lawyer should be an advocate.
Let Jumana K-Ruse protect your rights. Call the law offices of Jumana K-Ruse at 1-866-YOUR-RIGHTS, extension 100, or visit yourrights.com.
أسواق زمزم الواقع على 24065 أورشاد ليك في مدينة فارمington هاوس ترحب بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. تنزيلات كبيرة على عموم المواد الغذائية في يوم الأربعاء من كل أسبوع. لا تنسوا فريش كاري اوت، جميع انواع المعجنات، وايضا صواني الكمبو المشكله والصمون الحار. لحوم حلال الجاليه العربيه والاسلاميه الملحمه باداره قصاب الجاليه المعروف سلوان جربوع. زوروهم على 24065 اورشاد ليك في مدينه فارمington هاوس او اتصلوا بهم على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمذاقي عنوان لجميع طلباتكم. اتصلوا على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمعامله الراقية وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
And welcome back. This is Ray Hanania here at the Arab Daily News Radio Show, Radio Baladi on Layla Al-Husseini's U.S. Arab Radio Network. Layla is a phenom, like a number of people. Jumana K-Ruz is a phenom, that phenomena. Remember, that was the adjective they used, the superlative, to describe Barack Obama when he first spoke at the Democratic National Convention. I think, was it in 2004 maybe? Going back. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Maybe 2008, I can't remember. Before that. Anyway, politics is a big thing. Donald Trump was in Michigan recently. He's shaken up the Republican primary. His poll numbers have gone through the roof. And there are things that I like about him and things that I don't like. But I'm a political reporter. I covered Chicago City Hall 20 years. I know what it's like. I know what politics in America is really about. I understand it. So when a politician says to me, I love Israel, Israel's the most important thing, and they fight with each other about who loves Israel more, I don't get upset. I go, okay, let them fight. You know why? Because they're trying to get the pro-Israel vote, right? Why aren't they trying to get the pro-Arab vote? Because, honestly, Arabs, we haven't organized. We haven't forced them to acknowledge us. We're starting to, little by little, just by sheer numbers and just by sheer events around the world, pushing the Middle East into our faces, every day, in the wrong way, of course. And then we got to deal with the biased mainstream media. They're the devil. The biased mainstream media, they are the enemy. They're the reasons why everything is so bad. So, when I listen to these political candidates, I don't get upset. I see it as a reflection of the pro-Israel community. They're doing their job. They're getting out there. They're beating the drums for their candidate. What are we doing? What do Arabs do? I don't know. I don't see a lot of political organizations in the Arab community pushing the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. There's some. They don't get as much support. But, boy, you want to do something for Hamas, you get 1 million people come out. You'll raise money like crazy. Yeah, we're here physically in this country, but mentally we're back home, most of us. Physically here, mentally we're still in the Middle East. We need to break that bond. We need to be physically and mentally in this country. We're American. We got to get involved with the United States. We got to energize our community. We got to get involved. And I'll tell you what, if we were to get involved, we would have peace in the Middle East. So I'm not saying it's our fault we don't have peace in the Middle East, but we can make a difference. We need to get more involved. And I have to say that having been involved for so many years, I'd say only 15% of the Arab community, now write this down, 15% of the Arab community, only 15%, is involved in our political activism in a real way. It's not the same as, sitting around the dinner table, around the hummus and the tabbouleh and the stuffed grape leaves and stuffed squash or even stuffed potatoes. I love that. Now I'm getting hungry. I love Middle Eastern food. Friday is Middle Eastern food day for me. But it's not like us sitting around the table and then, I used to listen to my dad yelling and screaming around the dinner table about the Middle East. And then after dinner, we'd sit down, we'd watch TV, go to sleep, get up in the morning, go to work, and that was it. And, deep down, he had a passion about the Middle East and maybe a frustration. Maybe that's what we all have. But there was no place to articulate it. There was no organization when my dad was here. What group? There were no groups. We did nothing. And we had a lot of Arabs in this country, too. And we don't support Arab issues. I'm proud that Selma Hayek did a movie about the Prophet. She took a book written by a Lebanese-American Arab, Khalil Gibran, took 8 chapters of it and transposed it into a Hollywood script, made an animated movie. She's one of the voices. And it's not doing well. And you know why it's not doing well? Because of you. You listening to me right now. Look in your mirror, in your car. Look in your rearview mirror. Not for too long. I don't want you to get in an accident. We can't afford to lose you. We have so few of us in this country. And then if you do get in an accident, make sure to call Jumana K. Ruse, okay? Because she is good. I really like her. She understands, politics. But look in that mirror and you see yourself. You're the problem. You really are. And we don't like to acknowledge mistakes. We don't like to acknowledge problems. And if we don't acknowledge the problem, if we don't acknowledge the failure, you can't change failure. The only way to change failure, right, is to acknowledge it and then change it. But as soon as you acknowledge failure, like our organizations, I love ADC Michigan. I think you got a new leader there. I think she's good. We got the American Human Rights Council there. I think Ahmad Hamad is great. I think he's doing a great job over there. We got some good organizations. But ADC National sucks. To be honest, they're terrible. I was on the board. And you could see right away the fanatics had ADC in a headlock. And they were blackmailing the organization. They were controlling it because you know what? They don't want ADC, the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, to focus on fighting discrimination. They want ADC to focus on their political issues. And these fanatics, which are a small group, it's a small group of crazy people, extremists, fanatics. They don't like it. They don't like it when other voices challenge them because, there's an industry in suffering. Yeah, if they ever solve the Palestine conflict, these activists will be out of a job. They have created a job. So do you think they want peace? They don't want peace. They want the conflict to go on forever. Many of these fanatics, a lot of great activists out there, but there are some nut jobs. And these nut jobs that are controlling us, they want to continue this so they can keep their job. Because once there's peace in Palestine, they will be out of a job. So what do you think? Do you think they want to be out of a job? No. What they do is for themselves. Look at some of these groups. And they destroyed ADC nationally. ADC was a great organization. I was here in Chicago when they first set it up in the 1980s. I was here. I was at the meetings. I remember it was a whole different ballgame back then. We didn't have these small groups of fanatic, extremist ideologues who wanted to destroy everything. They're arsonists, and it's really a shame. You're listening to the Arab Daily News radio show. I'm the host, Ray Hanania. I'm here every second Friday of the month at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in Detroit and in Washington, D.C., 690 AM in Detroit and 700 AM in Washington. Radio Baladi, Layla El-Husseini's U.S. Arab Radio Network. Go to my website at thearabdailynews.com. Thearabdailynews.com. Go there and you can get a hold of me and get news. And I'm telling you, join 800,000 other people that are reading and contributing. If you're a writer, I want to hear from you. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with callers. If you want to call in at 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
Waintree Manor. صالات جميلة لمناسباتكم السعيدة. ترحب بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. أجمل القاعات لمناسباتكم السعيدة من حفلات ومؤتمرات. تتسع القاعات لأكثر من 1000 شخص. خدمة راقية، أسعار مناسبة. تذوقوا ألذ الأطعمة الشرقية والغربية وبأسعار خاصة ومناسبة لجميع المناسبات. تقع القاعة على 35100 فان بون رود في مدينة وين. للحجز اتصلوا بهم على 734-728-3020 734-728-3020. Waintree Manor للضيافة عنوان.
Ziyad brand. Quality products, from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
استوديو زرياب بإدارة حسن حامد في ستورلينغ هايتس يحييكم ويقدم لكم خدماته بالصوت والصورة، تسجيل، تصوير، مونتاج، فيديو كليب، إعلانات، كوميرشالز، دوكيومنتري، أفلام وثائقية للترويج لبضائعكم ومحلاتكم وشركاتكم، برامج تلفزيونية وإذاعية. استوديو زرياب وبتقنية عالية بإدارة حسن حامد 313-945-8860 313-945-8860 أو 248-761-5787. استوديو زرياب، الصوت والصورة اختصاصنا.
Khalil Gibran is one of America's most best-known American Arabs, and he wrote his book, the acclaimed poetry book, The Prophet, back in 1923. Has anybody really? That book is still the #1 American Arab book, and it's going to be 100 years soon since it was published. Now, I can't remember if we got a postage stamp or not. I know I started a campaign about 20 years ago to get a postage stamp for Khalil Gibran because, you know, the U.S. Post Office puts out stamps for everybody but Arabs. They don't like us because that's part of society. It's not that the postage, the post office people don't like us. It's society doesn't like us, and they're just participating in society, so they don't like us. So it's just part of what they're taught to not like us. That's the way it is. So as long as we're sleepy and we do nothing, which is pretty much what the Arab community is, sleepy and do nothing, we just don't do enough. And I'm not talking about those few that do stuff. There are. Like I said, 15% of the community really works hard. And you know who they are. They're great people. These leaders are phenomenal. But 15% is not enough to be successful. 15% is a formula for failure. And especially if you don't understand communications, you're going to get nowhere in this country. And that's where we've been. In this country, we've been nowhere because we just don't understand communications. 248-557-3300. So Selma Hayek, a brilliant actress, Lebanese American Arab and Mexican American, she's put out a movie based on 8 of the chapters of Khalil Gibran's novel, The Prophet, which, by the way, is to books what It's a Wonderful Life is to movies. It's a classic. It's an inspirational story, one of the most Americans have either read or are very familiar. This past week, Hollywood released the animated film version of Gibran's book, The Prophet, in a limited distribution to theaters in most cities. News of the new movie has been muted. Information has been difficult to obtain. Of course, when you're an Arab American in the post-September 11th poisoned world of hatred, racism, and anti-Arab ideology, you have to wonder if you're being paranoid or if the people involved in making the film just don't know what they're doing. Now, Selma Hayek is a great actress, and she's successful because of her talent and her beauty, right, in movie making. She's made a number of movies, but over the last few years, she said, Hollywood just doesn't knock on her door anymore. And even though she's in her 40s, that's not the reason. I think it's the more active she's become, the more Hollywood kind of gets away from you. They don't like active Arabs. They don't like Arabs who are proud to be Arabs. You look at all the Arabs that are on television in the news industry. I don't know how many of them say, hey, other than Hoda Kotb, but she didn't change her name. She kept it. But I don't hear Hoda Kotb talking about being Arab that much. I don't hear her talking about, the tragedy in the Arab community, how we need to do more, to be fair to Arabs. And that's always been my mantra. I've always believed, and I've been very successful in journalism, for 20 years covering Chicago City Hall and now running Urban Strategies Group, a political consulting firm. I've been doing that for 25, 30 years. I'm proud to be Arab. I wear it on my shoulder. Nobody who meets me doesn't know that I'm Arab. You understand what I'm saying? If you've never met me and we meet, you're going to know right away. I'm Palestinian, I'm Arab, and even though I'm Christian, I'm proud to be Muslim culture, and I don't hate Jews. In fact, my wife is Jewish. I tell you what, Adam, let Jerry come on. Just tell him a quick second, because I know Jerry wants to come back on. Let's let him back on for a second.
Right.
Just say a few more words. Go ahead, Jerry.
Ray, I appreciate taking my call again. Ray,
right.
I just said something very important, and you mentioned it a few minutes ago, that the Israeli, the Jewish, which we, like you said, we don't have nothing against the Jewish people.
Right.
But they are doing their homework.
Yes.
Look, Ray, on a fundraiser in the USA, the Jewish people, the community, when they gather to collect some donation, in overnight they collect $10 million. And our Arab people, excuse me, Ray,
no.
they cannot collect $10,000 in 10 days. Look the difference, Ray. Look, Ray, we are the problem, not somebody else.
We are. I
Some
agree
people
with you.
doing their homework, but we are not doing our homework.
We are not.
نحن العرب غير متحدين يا أخ ري. We are not united.
We're lazy.
Habibi Ray, thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. Jerry makes a good point. He's absolutely right. What's the difference? I mean, you think the Jewish community is bigger than the Arab community? Or the Arab community is smaller than any other community? We can't do anything. We can't get the whole presidential debate, the presidential season, all the candidates, Trump, all of them, they're going to be arguing about who is more pro-Israel. Nobody's going to be saying who's more pro-Palestine. Maybe there might be one or two candidates on the fringe, unfortunately, good people, but they're not going to be arguing that. There won't be a debate. And you know why they won't argue? Because when a politician stands up for Arabs and Palestinians and Muslims, they get beat up and nobody stands up for them. Look at all the members of Congress who have stood up for us, and we never stand up for them. Some of us have. And you got to remember, I'm talking generally, about our community. There are a lot of good people in there, but, one person isn't the movement. The whole community, 15% isn't enough. We need to get that 15% off their butts and to do something, and they don't. Like this movie, The Prophet. It should be in every city. I don't get it. Why isn't it? It's not that it's a bad movie. It's made by Arabs. It's about Arabs. That's it. They don't want things that make Arabs look good in front of the faces of mainstream Americans, because how can Americans hate us if they see positive images of us? This is about feeding the hatred. And we get upset and we get frustrated because we can't overcome it. So we kind of play into it by being frustrated and doing nothing. But you need to do something. If you're a young Arab American, you need to push your hand out and push the extremists away. And you need to become active in a smart way. And honestly, you got to separate religion from politics. The two don't go, they don't work. And the more Americans see politics and religion, the less they like it. That's just the way the Americans are. Now, you can mix religion and politics if you don't care, about what Americans think. If you don't care whether they like you or dislike you, yeah, go ahead and mix politics and religion. It doesn't matter. But the truth is, in this country, when you mix politics and religion, they don't like you. Period. That's it. And yes, there is a small group of Christian fanatics who are mixing politics and religion, but they're nuts on the far right. They're not good. You want to be like them? No. And the majority of Americans look at that group and they think they're crazy too. So we need to look at ourselves and say, wow, not how do I view myself, but how does the public, how does the American public see us? And we need to be honest about it, because what they see is not very good. And we just want to pretend like what they're seeing that isn't very good doesn't exist. So we close our eyes. We don't want to address it. We're ashamed. We're ashamed of failure. We're ashamed of not doing the right thing. We're ashamed of not being successful. 248-557-3300 is our number if you want to call. And I appreciate Jerry taking the time to call in. And as you know, I'm not going to bite your head off. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. You can call in. I can deal with people that don't agree with me. It's not a problem. But I can't imagine anybody not agreeing with me because I'm right. I am right. The fact is that we're not doing a good job communicating. The majority of Arabs are silent and uninvolved. And a small handful, about 15% of the community, fanatic extremists, are running everything. They are your face. These fanatics have become who you are because we've let them do that. We don't stand up to them. And you don't even have to deal with them. You know, you can just ignore them. But you have to create an alternative choice for the American people. They need to see the true Arab, and they haven't seen us because the true face of the true Arab is out there, and we have not portrayed it properly to the American people. And that's what Selma Hayek is trying to do now. An animated movie may not seem like a very powerful way to win people over, but it is. Hollywood movies have defined the way Americans look at Israel. That movie, Exodus, is the definitive foundation of how Americans view the Palestine story. It's not factual. It's based on a lot of lies, but it is the definition of what they believe happened. Out of a movie, written by an author, and starring Paul Newman, a good-looking guy, right? Remember, my mother loved the movie Exodus. And I would say to her, Mom, how could you love the movie Exodus? It's a terrible anti-Arab racist movie that's built on racism and lies. Exodus is such baloney. And she said, I don't care. Paul Newman is handsome. That's the way it is. And you want to know something? God bless my mother. She was like 85% of all the Arabs in our community. She was moved by what we saw. And she knew that individually she couldn't do anything. But she also recognized that there was nothing in our community to do anything with. We had no movement. You know, my parents were around and I was a young kid. We barely had organizations. And it really is kind of shameful that even today we haven't advanced. We got groups and organizations, but honestly, they're not very effective. And it's not because they don't try and they're not good. It has to do with the majority of the community. 85% of our community just doesn't get involved. So how can you be a successful, great organization if the majority of your community doesn't support you? And like Jerry pointed out, and he's correct, you know, if you're Jewish, the Jewish community is like the Arab community. We're about the same size. I think there may be about 1 million more Jews in America than there are Arabs in America. And yet, they can do 100 times more. So they're 20% more than us, and they can do 100 times more than we can. Why is that? Huh? Why is that? Because we're not doing enough, and we don't want to admit it. It's 1/4 to the top of the hour, so we're going to take another quick break, our final break. And our number again, if you want to call in, we got 15 more minutes, is 248-557-3300. Probably 30,000 people will download this podcast after I post it. You can go to the ArabDailyNews.com and connect to my podcast. And I tell you what, Adam, let's take the call and then take the break. If that's okay, let's do that. Let's take the caller. I don't want to make our caller wait, although we want to thank all our advertisers. Go ahead, caller, you're on the Arab Daily News radio show.
Yeah, good morning, Ray.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm proud of what you are doing. We need some voices like yours, but at the same time,
yes,
we have to realize that if we go about 100 years ago, when the Jews couldn't even walk in New York City, they were being spitting on them. So, you know, the success story of our brothers Jews in this country didn't come free or without hard work and with time.
Exactly.
And so
they did it. They worked hard. You're right. They did it. But, you know, the key, though, is they acknowledged what the problem was. You know, do you agree with me that we Arabs, we don't like to admit that we've made a mistake as a community? We don't like to admit failure. We don't like to acknowledge that something's wrong. And if you don't acknowledge a mistake, you can't correct it. You need to acknowledge it. If I acknowledge, people always say to me, Ray, quit airing the dirty laundry. No, I said let's air the dirty laundry and wash it, and let's have clean laundry. Don't you agree?
Well, Ray, the dirty laundry, if it doesn't show up out to the public, it smells. So it doesn't matter whether you publish the dirty laundry of our performance, it smells. I mean, and it smells very bad. Actually, it smells, and the smell is more dangerous and more, you know.
Right, but we can't. We
are.
We have to do something about it, don't we? We have to do something.
Well, but again, look, our culture, you know, coming from the Middle East, is a culture of very hardcore, proud, and very, very rich history. The Ottoman Turk actually destroyed some of that.
Yes, they did.
But they captured the Islamic, you know, beauty of the culture, whether Christian, Jews, Muslims, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, the original land of our brothers and sisters Jews are from the Arabia. The tribes are there. I mean, the Khazraj, you know, Kinaka, the others. I mean, the tribes are there. They are from the Arabia. We are from the Arabia, and that's why, you know, everybody in the Middle East, even if you look black from Lebanon or dark, they still call you are a white person. So remember that. Remember that it takes time, and it takes people like you to beat some time on the drums, that we gotta be better, we gotta be more involved, whatever. For us who are involved in the community, and try to be American Arabs as much as we can, to be American and with Arabic culture. But what's coming from there, it's very disturbing, barbarian.
It is, and it's hard. You know, it's hard to deal with. We need to stand up. What's your name, by the way?
Huh?
What's your name? What's your first name?
My name is Jamal.
Jamal, listen, thank you, Jamal. I got to take a break, so real quick, you got just 30 seconds, and then I got to take a break.
I need you to talk a little bit about what's going on in Yemen and how we are going to be able to bring that peace for the sake of those children who are being killed. I mean,
no, you're right. There's a terrible conflict in the Middle East.
Forget about the politics about it.
All
you
right.
know.
Jamal, listen, thank you. I think Yemen is a big topic that we do need to address more. It's definitely terrible what's happening over there. I got to take a quick break right here at the Arab Daily News radio show, 690 AM in Detroit and 700 AM in Washington, D.C. I'm Ray Hanania. We'll be right back right after these messages.
قشات ميديترينيان ماركت بإدارة سهر قشات وأولاده يرحبون بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. جميع أنواع المواد الغذائية، ألبان طازجة، الكرزات والبهارات الطازجة. داخل الأسواق مطعم ميديترينيان شيش كباب يقدم يوميا جميع أنواع الكباب، المقبلات العربية العراقية وصواني الكامبو المميزة. تفتح الأسواق من 8 إلى 9 مساء من الاثنين وحتى السبت، ومن 8 صباحا إلى 9 مساء يوم الأحد. تقع الأسواق على 32839 نورث ويسترن هايوي في مدينة فارمينغتون هيلز. لحوم حلال للجالية الإسلامية. لطلباتكم من المطعم كول 248-538-7855. That is 248-538-7855. قشة ميديترينيان ماركت، خدمة متميزة ومعاملة راقية.
Life for Relief and Development is a non-profit charity that has been providing humanitarian aid and development to people and communities regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background for over 22 years. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life rushes to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Life also has development projects that provide medical relief, water purification, educational programs, relief for orphans, and much more. Your help and support can greatly improve these efforts. All donations are tax deductible. For more information, please visit our website at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493. That's lifeusa.org, 248-424-7493.
From their first words to first grade, Dreamy Children's Center will help get your child on the right track. The highly qualified staff works closely with parents to provide an experience that goes beyond early education. We can help nurture important personality traits with the use of educational programs ranging from preschooling for infants to Montessori-approved programs and bilingual curriculums for young children. All meals can be provided and we can arrange for after-school pickup. Dreamy Children's Center in Dearborn Heights on Warren, in Westland on Ann Arbor Trail, and in Troy on DeQuinder.
And welcome back to the Arab Daily News radio show. Our website is thearabdailynews.com. You can go there and get information about our show, all the articles that we publish, 800,000 visits, page views every month at that website. And, of course, you need to reach me with my mainstream politics and all the stuff that I do, the political consulting and media consulting. Go to urbanstrategiesgroup.com. Let's go to our phone lines and welcome Khalil Hashim. Khalil, thank you so much for taking the time to call. I'm honored. Thank you.
Absolutely, Ray. I just want to thank you so much for addressing this issue and outlining some of the most important things in that our community is facing. You know, you're absolutely right, and you know, bringing up all these issues, including the fact is we don't put the right person for the right job.
Sometimes that's a big issue. You're right.
Yeah, it is.
Listen, I grew up with my grandfather. Ran our house. We couldn't do anything. Then my father ran the house. It wasn't about, you know, the education. We live in a society where we look up in a patrilineal way right to the top, and that's the way it is. We're not used to breaking out of that and saying, wow, the son is doing so well. Let's follow him. Let him run the family. Because we feel ashamed when a kid takes over a family and helps us.
Absolutely. And the other issue is the inferiority issue, and you alluded to it a little bit, and the fact that we don't promote, our successful people. And
you're right, we should. The Arab Chamber does such a great job in Michigan, and I think that's one of the big things that the Chamber does. I mean, well, you're right, we don't do it enough. We don't do it enough in our community. But don't you agree that we're really about 15% activism, maybe a little bit more, but the majority of our community, they're still out there. They're not involved.
Absolutely.
How do we get them involved?
Absolutely. And they need to understand that, you know, if they don't voice their opinion, if they don't work together, if they don't get active, nobody's going to listen to them. As simple as that. Just like elections, look at the city of Dearborn. You know, there are 17,000 Arab Americans registered voters. How many of them vote? 3,000, 4,000. You know, look at the list of people who really win offices. They win by 11,000 votes. Arab Americans in Dearborn have a chance of electing every office, but they don't. You know, they don't. And the other thing is that even those who are working out there, the other issue is they don't work together well. And we need to do a better job at that. You know, you don't want to work with me, don't work against me. But
right.
I would,
exactly.
I would rather that
if you and I don't see eye to eye,
yeah,
we could still. And I know that. Listen, even if you and I had a disagreement on one issue, there are 99 things we could agree on, I bet.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we have a habit of focusing on that one issue that we disagree on, and we forget about the 99 things that you and I could work together on that have direct impact on our community. I think it's just by you calling is a good example of what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people say, I'm not going to call local radio. I don't like the local radio. I don't like Layla. I don't like Radio Bella. I don't like Ray Hanania. But they will listen to the mainstream radio, beat the heck out of Arabs, promote the worst images of Arabs, and they don't say anything.
Absolutely.
But maybe they bumped into me, stubbed their toe, and they're mad at me, and they forget the bigger picture. Khalil, listen, thank you so much for calling.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. It was very nice of you to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing up all these issues.
You're welcome. All right,
Bye
that's
now.
Khalil Hashem. And we're down to the last couple minutes. We only got about 3 minutes left, unfortunately. But I want to tell you how much I enjoy doing this show. You need to support our radio shows, all of them that are on WNZK, a lot of American Arab shows here in the afternoon. You got to support them all. We have to stand together. 15% isn't good enough. We need 100%, and it's possible because other people do it. The American Jewish community does it. They get 100% activism. The Arab community, we get 15%. Is that good? No. We should be embarrassed by that. That's the problem. Let's address the problem. Let's make the problem the focus so we can change it. Not to celebrate the problem or the mistake or the failure, but to change it. If we don't address the problem, we can't change it. Let's address the fact that we have a problem in the Arab community. We got small groups of extremists that want to control us. We live here physically, and most of us are mentally back home. That's a problem. We need to change it. And if our leaders are mentally back home instead of mentally here in this country, that's a problem. We're Americans, and I'm very proud to be an American Arab. I'm very proud to be Palestinian. I'm very proud to be Christian and Muslim by culture. I don't care. Married to a Jew. I think that I can handle it all because I have no animosity against anybody. I'm against injustice. I'm against what's wrong. I support what's right. And what's right doesn't have a religion. What's right doesn't have an ethnic face. What's right doesn't have a national origin. What's right is right, and we should stand up and support it regardless. Anyway, get involved in politics. Please visit our website at thearabdailynews.com. You can support us. I really appreciate it. And you can hook up with all the stuff that I do online at rayhanania.com or urbanstrategiesgroup.com. I'm Ray Hanania. I want to thank Adam, who's been running the board and the phone lines, and all the callers that called in during this show. And, of course, Layla El-Husseini. She's on every morning, Monday through Friday, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time in Detroit and Washington, D.C. I'm Ray Hanania. I'm here every second Friday of the month. I'll see you next month. You guys have a great time. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye, everybody.